What's up, guys? Dr. Mo here, Digital Nomad Physician at digitalnomadphysician.com. Welcome to Bend, Oregon. So we're at a new location now. So we moved apartments. We were previously in an Airbnb. Well, it was a house in an Airbnb, and now we are in a furnished finder house in Bend, Oregon, by this beautiful lake, river. So we're right on the water. Really gorgeous. The house is back there in the backdrop. You can't see it. And this is like a little dog area they created for the house. The land is just big. It's really, really big. So yesterday I had a really nice conversation with a nurse practitioner who is a psychiatrist. And he was talking about his virtual medicine that he does. So pretty much his entire practice is online. And he's noticed over the years that one of the things he gravitates to is treating addiction of all sorts. And he's somebody who kind of tinkers with a lot of things. So I'm going to give you an idea that I think an individual clinician can do, but a telemedicine platform or a large medical group can't do. So these are the things where we as physicians, as nurse practitioners, as PAs, as mental health experts, podiatrists, we stand out because we can do these things while these other large companies simply can't. So here's an idea of getting a big piece of land like this, and this is not even that big. It's probably not even an acre, but of course, when you have a lot of trees and you have elevations, it can feel really, really big. You can purchase a land like this, you can put a house on it, you can have no house on it, you can have a camping area, you can put RVs on the property, and you can invite people or get referrals for patients with addiction. Now, addiction can be everything from digital addiction to sexual addiction to alcohol, substance abuse, etc. And this is, of course, a cash-based idea. And when you have a place like this, and when you yourself have interests, whether it's painting, drawing, dancing, singing, swimming, or creating things, doing things with your hands, then you can create a protocol, an experience, an immersion experience for people to come and do an inpatient 2 month, 3 month, 2 weeks, 1 week kind of rehabilitation to help them with their addiction. And of course, this whole time, you're giving them lots of tools, you're doing medication management, you're helping them with detoxifications, you're teaching them hands-on cooking, you're teaching them hands-on building something from wood, construction. And this nurse practitioner had an awesome idea. Of course, I'm not going to share it here, of exactly what he wanted to build with his clients. And I thought, just brilliant, because it's so unique to him. He grew up as a kid doing this. He grew up as a kid building this kind of a thing with his hands, with his dad. And so he's like, I have this skill that probably nobody else has. I've never heard of anybody who had this skill. And he was going to now bring it to these people, and he was going to sit there. Not only would he be the one enjoying it, but the conversation is very different. And I'll tell you why this is so important. When I do my health coaching, I like to go for a walk. So in fact, we've been here now for a few days. And so I'm just strolling this entire land while I'm on my headphones, and I'm just having a conversation with my health coaching clients. I'm charging $400 a month, going for a beautiful walk. And of course, they're getting an exercise in, because I always encourage them to also go for a walk or do some sort of activity, be on a stationary bike. And so there is this component of activity and being outdoors and doing something active. Of course, if the weather is not permitting, and when you are, you can always go and rent a space in another place based on weather patterns, on climates, and you can run your retreat there. You could do 3 retreats a year, and that can be, of course, an incredible moneymaker. The worry that a lot of people have is maybe figuring out the logistics. That's one part. Maybe figuring out how much to charge is another part. But I think always the biggest piece that comes up in a lot of conversations that I've heard from a lot of people, and also this person, the concern is, yeah, but who's going to pay that much money for it to be worthwhile? And I'll give you a great story. I've shared this story with some of you privately. I was in an urgent care in West LA, And this chef, this Persian guy, comes in, he had problems with his foot, and he's a chef. He's a chef at an addiction center. All he said is that, hey, I'm the head chef, and I'm at this place where I got to stand all the time. And he's like, it's actually both emotionally and physically very draining, because emotionally, like you're dealing with a lot of people who are going through some very hefty stuff. So we get into it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he is in this massive property in, I think, either Malibu or somewhere. And they do addiction. They do addiction treatment, but it is in this huge resort. And he's a 5-star chef. It's a 5-star resort. People are paying $150,000 a month. $150,000 a month to be there. So on average, everybody stays about 2 months, and that's what they're paying to be there. So he said the expectation from me is very high, and people who come in are in all sorts of different moods and effects. They're coming off medicine, they're getting on medicine, and he's like, so it's emotionally very draining, but it's also physically very draining. It was a very great conversation, and I got this insight about what it's like to be in that kind of facility. And I was asking him how much staff they had. Unbelievable. I asked him how many new clients he sees every day. Unbelievable. So if you do the math, I mean, this is of course, you could have a lot of expenditures, I totally understand, but for the most part, this is a very, very lucrative space. Now, somebody might say, yeah, but nobody has $150,000 a month to spend on these things. And I think for us who live in America, we forget that we are in probably the most wealth abundant country as a whole that has ever existed. We have more disposable money than any other country when you add it all up. And not only that, but we're also a country where paying cash for something is very easy to do. Yes, you might hear the news that most Americans couldn't come up with $1,000 or $5,000 or whatever that metric is, but that's probably 60%. The other 40% are quite wealthy, and then there's 20% who are uber wealthy, then there's 10% who are obscenely wealthy, and then there is 1% who pretty much say run the world, I don't know, but like they definitely will call the shots, and they have the money. And if they believe that something is worthwhile or something is of value and something makes sense, they're going to spend that money. Because we always think, okay, how is Dr. Mo going to afford, let's say I develop a substance abuse disorder. How is Dr. Mo going to afford $150,000? Well, yeah, maybe I can't afford $150,000, but I got a rich uncle. My rich uncle might find out about this service and he say, hey, Mo, you're going through some really bad stuff. I'm really wealthy. I'm going to put you through this. I'm going to support you through this for the next 2 months. I'm going to spend the $300,000, but you have to promise me that you're going to get it done. So don't always think about like, who am I marketing to? Sometimes you're not exactly marketing to the end user, though. Let's face it, plenty of people have the money. They may just want to do a retreat to write a book or to detox from digital media or whatever. Anyway, I hope this is useful for you guys. If I were going to take actionable steps to do something like this, I would write myself a business plan. What would it look like? Where would I advertise? Who would I reach out to get the word of mouth, to have people refer to me? So obviously this would be other addiction doctors. It would be high-end concierge medical practices. It would be a lot of hospitals and hospitalists who probably deal with acute admissions of patients like this, like psych hospitals. And you get the word out. You let them know that this is what you have. You could build a $150,000 a month service. I think that's ridiculous. You don't need to. You can build it for $5,000 per person, and you're still going to make an incredible profit. Because remember, you don't have to build it in Los Angeles, where the overhead is so ridiculous. You could build it in Bend, Oregon. You can build it in Flagstaff, Arizona. You could build it in some farmland in Wyoming. You have a lot of options. So I hope this is of value to you guys. Always think about these things, because we forget the skills that we have. And we always think, okay, the only skill that I have as a clinician is that I can prescribe a medicine or de-prescribe a medicine or order some tests. We forget that we also have the ability to connect with people, make them feel welcome, to share our art, our skills, our abilities with them, whether it's building something together or doing an activity together, farming together, doing a nature walk, all of these other things that you have that you can introduce into medicine to make medicine so much more beautiful and offer so much more value to your patients. So if you want more information, go to digitalnomadphysician.com. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.